As Ikoria started to reveal its cards to us, we've been left asking who could be the third and final Planeswalker to appear in the set. From interviews, we knew that Ikoria would have 3 Planeswalkers, 1 brand new character, and 2 returning from our established roster. Well, today we have our answer, and the last Planeswalker for Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, has been revealed. And it's quite the shocker. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Aether Hub. I'm Simon, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. Today, the last Planeswalker for Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths has been revealed, and I'd like to break down how it's one of the more unexpected characters I've ever seen in a set in quite some time. But who is this mysterious character? Let me introduce Narset of the Ancient Way, a 4 loyalty Planeswalker for 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 white mana. Her +1 ability gains you 2 life, as well as 1 of either blue, red, or white mana that can only be used to cast non-creature spells. Her -2 is draw a card, then you may discard a card. When you discard a non-land card this way, Narset of the Ancient Way deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to target creature or Planeswalker. Her ultimate ability for -6 is you get an emblem with, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this emblem deals 2 damage to any target. Okay, loads to talk about here guys, but first let's break down the card itself before I get knee deep into the lore on this one. So what do I think about Narset of the Ancient Way? Well, I do like me a Planeswalker who can protect themselves, and while the -2 is a little conditional, it's still removal along with draw, so it's really solid. Her +1 is also super versatile. May not do a whole lot in gaining 2 life, but with enough heavy big spells, she'll be your best friend. Her ultimate to me is rather kind of weak. Again, it's a payoff for playing a heavy non-creature deck, but a 2 damage ping seems a little weak for an ultimate. Of course, you can target anything with the emblem, which is good, and it's only 2 loyalty away from where you start, so okay, I can see the benefits. It's just not my style of playing, so I'm a tad bit biased, but if non-creature spells are your jam, let me know what you think about Narset of the Ancient Way and where you see her going in Standard. Honestly, she's a pretty mediocre Planeswalker for Limited, seeing how she really pays off for those big non-creature spells that you're not always guaranteed to get in a limited format. But still, she's got removal, so there's always a benefit to have her. I will say, it's nice seeing the classic emblem ultimate come back to a Planeswalker. We just don't see it often anymore, at least not to the degree we used to see in previous sets. So that's the card, but why am I so shocked to see Narset in Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths? You guys know, I'm a lore junkie, and out of all the Planeswalkers throughout the multiverse, Narset just doesn't strike me as a character who would show up on a plane filled with giant monsters. Take a look at the other 2 planeswalking characters we have in Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, Vivian Reed and Luca. Luca is a native bonder of monsters on Ikoria, a brand new character, so it makes all the sense in the world for him to be in this story. Vivian Reed, also massive motivations to be on Ikoria. We know she's traveling the multiverse looking for strong beasts to continue enchanting her arc bow with their power. She also stumbles on a world torn between savage monsters and a harsh human society. This is literally made for her character development. However, Narset has no such history of wanting to visit or examine a world filled to the brim with giant monsters. Let's do a little more digging into Narset's character and see if we can somehow explain why she's on Ikoria. Narset is a native of Tarkir, a plane with a rather muddied past, seeing how it has 2 different pasts. Tarkir was once a plane ruled by mighty Khans who ruled warring clans, powerful humans who tracked down and killed the once dominant dragon species who previously enslaved the tribes. When the Dragon Lords died out, these human clans rose in their stead. However, because of some timey-wimey nonsense between the planeswalkers Ugin the Spirit Dragon and Sarkhan Vol, history on Tarkir was forever changed. The clans didn't extinguish the Dragon Lords. Dragonkind rose to power to lead their own dragon clans. This is the state we find Tarkir today, a world Narset has grown accustomed to. There are 2 key elements that match Tarkir with things happening on Ikoria. Firstly, it's mana. Tarkir is the plane where wedge mana sources first originated, a 3 mana color combination appearing after the Shards of Alara. With these unique pairings, Tarkir set itself apart from other worlds, and Ikoria now shares the same wedge typings as Tarkir. But instead of mighty dragon lords leading clans of followers, we see triomes of monsters all led by an apex, which incorporate these types of wedge mana combinations. The other would be the idea of a human versus monsters dichotomy. Tarkir as a plane is defined by the relationships humans have with dragons, either one of war and conflict, which saw the dragon's extinction, or of dominance and survival, which saw the flourishing of the dragon lords. Narset's own development hindered on this fact. In fact, it's the reason her Planeswalker spark ignited. In the times of the Khans ruling Tarkir, Narset was just another Jeskai monk. However, when the timeline changed, she became the acolyte of Ojutai, the wisest of the Dragon Lords. Though Narset was unaware of this shift in time, how much the world had changed thanks to one action, the truth was eventually revealed to Narset, causing her entire worldview to come into question and igniting her spark. Narset is one of the few characters to know of Tarkir's true fate, its dual history, and the problems that can arise from humans bargaining for too much power. We don't really know Narset's true thoughts on the issue. She never really explained how this impacted her at a personal level. Does she agree that the dragons should rule? Does she want to see the world again conquered by Khans? We don't really know. What we do know is that Narset is a character who's defined by a human-monster relationship, for good or bad. And it's one of the only reasons I can think of her being included in Ikoria Lair of Behemoths. So why am I so shocked that Narset is on Ikoria if we at least have something to pull from? Mostly because her character has recently fallen into obscurity. After the events of Tarkir, Narset faded into the background until a new card of hers was released in War of the Spark. This wasn't a surprise, as a lot of Planeswalkers returned for this massive event, but even with that, Narset wasn't given much screen time in the story. In fact, she isn't mentioned at all. In both War of the Spark and Forsaken, Narset is noted as being on the plane as Bolas attacks, but her extent in the fight is never mentioned. She doesn't take part in any mission, makes no notable appearance, and it's not even stated if she sticks around to witness the actual fall of Bolas. All of this again left Narset in an obscure category of Planeswalkers, whose return to a mainstream story was questionable. It's not that I don't like Narset as a character, I actually loved her in the Tarkir block and thought that was some of the best world building Wizards of the Coast had ever done. It's just that I didn't see her appearing on Ikoria, as there's just no strong connection there. Even in Vivian Reed's own field notes about Narset, she doesn't say much of what she's doing there. Quote, I met Narset briefly when Nicol Bolas trapped many Planeswalkers on Ravnica. She told me she comes from Tarkir, a plane of two histories, one ruled by humans and the other by dragons. I don't find either particularly appealing. End quote. Even that description is like so blah, as to not even warrant a mention. It's like catching the bus and sitting next to a stranger who tells you a story about their crazy uncle, only to find out that that random guy is also a famous actor or something. You just don't really expect it. Worse still, if you're thinking maybe the official novel for Ikoria Lair of Behemoths, Sundered Bond, would have something on Narset, you'd be wrong. I'm still reading through the novel, but a quick word search on my Kindle finds that Narset's name is only ever brought up once. Yep, that's right, one single time. And here's the exact sentence. Quote, Narset would aid us, I'm sure, but she could be anywhere. If only... ... End quote. And that's Vivian Reed talking to allies before a battle. So Vivian thinks back to a brief encounter with Narset, but doesn't think she's still around for the events taking place in the novel, the actual story of Sundered Bond. So with all of that, I really did believe that this unrevealed Planeswalker would be another character more closely tied to big creatures or the wilds of planes. Garruk Wildspeaker was my first choice. He has just come back to the main story, having missed the War of the Spark, but reinvigorated public interest. He's a character similar to Vivian in that he respects wildlife and communes with them. He, in fact, has a closer relationship with Bonders on Ikoria than Vivian does, and could have been a better character for this story than Vivian Reed. But that's a topic for another video. I also thought Kiora would be a good choice. She's always hunting down the biggest creatures in the multiverse to face threats bigger than any single plane. It was literally her mission for most of her story. Like Vivian capturing animal spirits in her Arcbow, Kiora was doing something very similar but with sea monsters. Ikoria would have been the perfect plane for her to explore. But with what it is, Narset fills out the Planeswalkers for Ikoria Lair of Behemoths. Without any real lore to speak of, we do know Narset is part of the Jeskai wedge of Ikoria, one which is dominated by elementals and the apex monster, Vadrox, Apex of Thunder. Maybe she'll have some sort of relationship with these species of monsters. They seem to care a lot about non-creature spells like Narset's card suggests. We do see Narset appear on another card in Ikoria, Channeled Force, an instant for 2 generic 1 red and 1 blue mana. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard X cards. Target player draws X cards, Channeled Force deals X damage to up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Quote, "Few monsters challenged Narset after they sensed her power." End quote. Again, not much to go off of this in terms of lore, just Narset showing her skills to scare off some monsters. For good or bad, Narset is in Ikoria. Again, I have to say I love her character, but believing her to be on Ikoria was a stretch, and I really hope they could come up with a compelling reason to add her in, either in terms of the world of Ikoria or at least in the official novel. They haven't done that yet, but hopefully they can sell it as a natural development of her character. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about Narset on Ikoria and her card, Narset of the Ancient Way, in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and tick the notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!